a microbiologist from Harvard named Alison Adonisio. Alison was visiting Belize because she had heard about local healers using plant medicine. These plants contained a chemical which stops bacteria from spreading, and Alison was hoping to make a herbal antibiotic out of these plants. When Alison met John in Belize, he loved the idea and offered to set up a lab in the middle of the Belize jungle for them to work on creating these plant-based.
Alright guys, today we're gonna learn how to edit like MagnatesMedia, just like what you saw in the intro video. And guess what? From his latest tutorials, I feel like we can go somewhere 5 or more tutorials from that very video. So drop a comment down below if you want me to do a series on that, where every month I'll be bringing at least 1 or 2 from MagnatesMedia. Alright guys, let's get started. And today's video is brought to you by my homies on Patreon. So first of all, let's go to modify. Let's do some changes over here. With the aspect ratio, let's go for 16:9. It's gonna be on YouTube. Then go to performance, make sure you turn on proxy so it will not slow down your machine. And also let's come back to details. On arrange layers, let's turn it on. It's gonna save and make our life so easy along the way. Then click on save. So I'm just gonna start with the background image. I'm just gonna drag and drop on top. Just gonna lift it from the main timeline for now. And with this background image, later on we'll do something with this. For now, we're just gonna leave it like that. Then we're gonna bring in the lady and drag and drop on top of it. Now let's click on the background image. Let's just increase that. Then go to adjustment, saturation, let's take it down to 0. We're gonna work on that later on. For now, let's just leave it like that. So now we're gonna begin the animation with the lady. And with this, when you're doing this kind of edit, you do it step by step. But since we are trying to replicate what Magnet did, so we're gonna do all the animation on this very image before we bring in the rest of them. Take our playhead to the starting of it. Let's make it as long as possible. Go to video on the right side, make a keyframe on transform. It's gonna drop a keyframe on all these 3 parameters. Then let's go somewhere 30 frames forward. By using the shift arrow, it's gonna move 10 frames at a time. So 30 to this side. Let's drop another keyframe on transform. Now let's use this arrow to go back to the previous keyframe. Over there, let's increase it to somewhere 120%. And let's just drag it to something like this on the screen. And then with the rotate, we can go for somewhere 4 or 5 degrees. So from here, let's go to the second keyframe. Make sure it's on that. When it's on that, it's gonna highlight the blue. Then on that side, let's increase it a bit to somewhere 150%. And let's drag it down to this very side. So then when you look at it, it's gonna zoom in slowly, but then we need to play with the curve so it's gonna make it so smooth. Click on that, Option K to bring the keyframe animation out. We're gonna drop on all these parameters. Let's start with the scale. Click on this space and it's gonna bring it out. Then click on this keyframe, drop auto curve, select the first keyframe here and click on auto curve. Now I'm gonna do on X2, click on that and click on this space. Now select this second keyframe, auto curve, select that, auto curve. Now I'm gonna do the rest on Y and rotate, and I'm gonna be fast on that side. Now Option K. So now when you look at it, it's gonna give you that smooth zoom in. And that's one thing I love about CapCut. I've been using Final Cut Pro for a while and we don't have that kind of feature in Final Cut. Now we're gonna give it this look that it's gonna zoom in, continuing zooming in. So with this, let's take it to this second keyframe and then go somewhere 40 to 50 frames forward. And let's drop another keyframe on transform and it's gonna drop on all of them. Over there, let's just increase the scale by 10% so we can go for somewhere 160%. Now when you look at it, it's gonna give you that smooth zoom in. And this is one of the things that I wish CapCut could come with adjustment layers that we can be playing with this. It's gonna make it look so clean. Then just like we did it previously, let's change the curves on that one too. Option K to bring it out, and this time around we're just gonna do it on the scale value. Click on that, click on the empty space, select the keyframe and select auto curve. Now Option K to collapse that keyframe animation. So it comes in and then it zooms in slowly. Now on that very keyframe, we're gonna go 40 or 50 frames forward and drop another keyframe on transform. Then on that side, we're gonna move it to this very side. Let's use the on-screen controls and move it to that very side. Now with the scale, I can increase it a bit and drop it down to this very side. And just like we did with the previous ones, let's work on the curves, and I'm gonna be fast on this side. Option K to close it. So when you move to this side, we want it to continue zooming in, and we're gonna play that effect with it. And this time around, we're gonna make it go somewhere in this timeline. So this space, we're gonna do some animation on this left side. So somewhere here, let's increase it by somewhere 5 to 10%. So I can go for 177, and then I can just move it to this side. And just like that, let's do with the curves too. Option K. I'm gonna be fast on this side. So now when you look at it, it comes in, it zooms in a little bit, it goes to this side, and it continues zooming in to this very side. Now we're gonna bring it back to the normal position. We're gonna start on this very keyframe. Make sure your playhead is on that side, then go 60 frames forward, or it can be depending on whatever your video is about. Remember, we are trying to see how he does his stuff, but we don't need to be exactly like him. I'm gonna drop a keyframe on transform, then I'm gonna take it back to this side and reduce the size of it a bit to somewhere 150, and then I'm just gonna drop her on that side. And then I'll go 60 frames forward again and drop another keyframe on transform, or I can just move it to where I want to move it, increase the scale of it a bit and move it to something like this. And now I'm going to work on the curves. If you remember, option K to bring the keyframe animation out, and then I'm going to play with the auto curve, and I'll be fast on this side. So now I'm done with that. Option K to collapse that keyframe animation. So when you look at it, it's going to come back to the position, and then it's going to move to that very side. Very nice and clean. Now let's increase the length of it a bit. So when it goes to this side, we want to continue zooming in. So let's take our player to this very keyframe, and then we can go somewhere here and increase the size of it a bit and bring it to this side on the screen. Now we're done with this image. We're gonna bring in second, which was McAfee himself, and we're gonna play this trick with him. Instead of we bringing it in a timeline and doing the animation all over again, that's gonna take so much time. We're gonna play this shortcut trick on this. Click on this very image, press option and drag upwards. That's gonna make a duplicate of this very image. Now I'm gonna bring in my second image, or whatever image you'll be using. Drag and drop on the top one. It's gonna bring this pop-up window. Make sure you have this turned on, so it's gonna maintain all the keyframes we've already done in that very file. Then click on replace clip, and now let me show you. You can see it having the same animation with it, where we click on that and press option K. Then let's select first one and click on that. You can see it having auto curves already on that, and this will save you lots of time. Now let me just close that, option K to close it. And now we're gonna play the trick with him, so the animation will look very cool. Let's bring him below this very lady's image, so he will be behind the lady. So the first keyframe, this is it. It goes on this side. We like how it is. Then it zooms in a little bit. We like how it is. Then when it goes to this side, this is where we'll play one trick with this. Let's take our playhead to this very next keyframe. On that keyframe, we're just gonna move it to this side a bit, and then we're gonna increase it a bit to this side. So when you look here, I can see his head on that side. And now when I play and show you guys, so then you can see the lady is moving a bit faster than him, and that's gonna give you that cool 3D look to it. So if you want it to really move slow, we can just click on this, make sure we are on that keyframe, and we can move it a bit more to this side. Still on the image, McAfee's image, let's go to this side and start working on it. So on this side, it will start coming back to the normal position, and then we'll check if it looks cool. I think it looks okay, so we're going to leave it like that. Then this side too, it's going to go on this side. I think this side we can do small changes to it. So let's go to the next keyframe on that. Make sure you have this blue turned on. It's going to show you on that keyframe. On that side, let's increase it a bit and let's move McAfee to this side. So then when it goes here, McAfee is going to be on that side. Then let's go to the last keyframe on that very image. Make sure you select that. Let's increase that and let's bring him top to this side and play and look at how it looks like. So now we're done with him. Let's bring in our neon rectangle. So with this, I already created one for you guys. I will leave everything down there below in the description box below. You can download and follow along. So we're gonna do the same trick that we did from the previous one. With the lady, we're gonna use the lady's animation. Press Option and drag downwards. It's gonna make a duplicate of that. Let's bring him below McAfee because that's where we're gonna put the rectangle shape. Then let's go to that image on our right side. Drag and drop on this duplicate image and it's gonna give you the same window. Click on Replace Clip. So now when you look at it, it's gonna have the same animation to it, and now we will clean it up. Click on that, you're gonna see all the keyframe animation on that. Let's take to the first keyframe. Always make sure you are on the keyframe when you're doing changes so it doesn't mess everything up. So on that first keyframe, I want the neon rectangle to be on the eye level. So I'm just gonna drag it to that very side. Then I'll go to the next keyframe, make sure it's on the eye level. Then when I go to this side, make sure I'm on that keyframe. The blue is gonna be activated. I'm gonna drop it on the eye level so I'll maintain that same look. Then when it goes to this side, I'm gonna do some changes to the rectangle. Make sure you are on that keyframe, and this time around we're just gonna put it on this side. Still at the same time, I'm making sure it's on the eye level. Then when you look at it, when it goes, it's gonna stay on that side. And now to this next one, we're gonna play a trick with it so it will still be on that very side. Let's go to the previous keyframe. Make sure we have all the figures here in our head, or we write it down somewhere. So it's 171. You go to the next one. We can add somewhere 5 to it, so we can go for 176. Then when we go to the previous one, it was 883 on X and 808. Let's go to the next one. Let's put 883 and minus 808. So with this, you just be playing with it. So now you can see it's gonna stay on that. We're gonna play another trick with this next keyframes. So when it goes back, we wanna maintain the eye level. So we're just gonna take it back to that side. Then when it goes here, we're gonna maintain the same thing. Let's bring it back to this side. Then when it goes to the last one, we're still gonna maintain it. Now we're gonna bring in the background. So now we don't need this background. Let's delete that. And we're gonna bring it once more again. And we want to maintain the same animation vibe to it. So just like previous ones, click on that option and drag downwards. Make sure you don't drop it in the main timeline. We just want to edit everything on top of it. Later on, we can bring it down in the main timeline. Let's go to the background. This is the background. Drag and drop on this very image. Let's replace it. And before we do every changes to the curves and the animation, let's change a little bit of it, the color and everything. Click on that. Let's go to the left side. Click on filters. Let's click on this drop down menu. Then we can go for style, and we're gonna use this very color, burgundy or whatever it is, I can't pronounce that. We're gonna drop it on our background image and we can have this look already on that. Now with that background image selected, go to adjustments, scroll down. On vignette, let's move it to the black side. When you move it to this side, it's gonna brighten the edges, but we wanna darken it, so we're gonna go to the right side and I can darken it more. So something like this looks pretty cool to my eye. Now let's work on the animation. So take your playhead to the first keyframe of that. You can see how it looks like. Let's reduce the size of it a bit so we can see it. with that, let's just increase it so it will fill the whole screen. Then when it goes to the second keyframe, we are using the keyframes. Make sure you are on it before you do any changes. Let's go to video side, and you can see the blue is highlighted on that. With that, I think we can reduce the size of it a bit and bring it up to this side. Then let's go to this next one. So make sure the 132, we don't want to be doing too much with the background. So when we go to the next keyframe, let's put somewhere 134, and then we can just drag it up a bit. Now let's go to the next keyframe. So it was 134. Next keyframe, we don't want to do too much with the background, so let's go for somewhere 140, and let's move it to this side on the screen. Now with that selected, it was 140. Let's maintain the same, click on that. Let's take it to somewhere 140, and let's just drag it to this side. So always play and check and see how it looks like. Now let's go to the next keyframe. Make sure we still have 140. We don't want to do too much to the background, and let's drag it up a bit. Then when it goes to this next keyframe, make sure you select that. We can then take it to somewhere 155-ish, and then we can drag it so it will be in the middle. And then the last one, we don't want to do any changes to that, so let's take it back to, in fact, let's just take everything off, and then we can turn it on again. Now we're going to bring in one image. That's the doctor. I was searching for it. I could not find exactly the image he was using, but I got one on Google similar to it. I'll leave it down there below. You can download and practice along. So let's go to import. This is the lady we're going to use. Let's drag her in the timeline for now. Let's make it long. And we're going to put her behind this very lady. And we're going to introduce that lady when everything moves to this side. So we can take our playhead to that very keyframe. Let's drag this to this side. I think we can introduce her somewhere here in the timeline. With her selected, let's bring her here, increase the size of it a bit, and still put her on this side. Now let's change the color of it. I don't really like the color, so I'm going to change that. Go to the left side, click on filters. Then I'm going to go to mono, and I'm going to use black and white 3. Just drag and drop on it. I like that look of it. And I'm going to animate her to come in. Go to the right side, click on animation. We're going to use the basic slide right. And then I'm going to increase the duration of it so it will slowly come in. So somewhere 1 second looks pretty cool. Now when she comes in, we want her to be having this floating vibe, and we're going to use this effect for that. Go to the left side, click on effect, and I have it on my favorite, but you can see it somewhere down here. When you highlight the star, it's going to turn to your favorites. Scroll down, and this is the effect we're going to use. Play pendulum, drag and drop on it. With a twist, take it to 0. With the strength, we don't want it to be that much, so I can go to somewhere 7. And then I think the speed, I can leave it at somewhere 30. And then when I play and see how it looks like, you can see she's moving a bit behind. Now we're going to introduce some line animation in this. Go to the left side, click on text, drag default text in the timeline. Let's make it the same length as all of them for now. With that selected, let's go to the right side, delete that, and let's put in dash as many as we can. When I use underscore, it doesn't really give me that look I'm looking for. I want the lines to be a bit thicker, so I'm going to use dash for this. Then on character, I can just reduce it so they will snap together. Scroll down, and then we can turn on curves. And with this, he was not using glow, but I think I can add a little bit glow to it. This is a creative choice, so I'm just going to add a little bit of it. So when she comes in to this side, that's where the line is going to start coming in. So I'm just going to take it to this side, and I want the line to be below her for now. So I'm just going to bring that line below her so it will be behind this very image. Now I need to animate that line to come in. To be able to do that, we need to convert this to look like a video file. So I'm just going to click on that, Option G to create a compound clip of it. Then go to mask, select horizontal. If you're using the old version, I think it's gonna be split on this side. Now let's take that to this side. When she comes in, then the line is gonna come in too. With that selected, make sure you're on the first frame of it. Let's rotate this mask tool and let's wipe it off to this side. With the feather, let's go to somewhere 3. And now we can make a keyframe on mask side. It's gonna drop on all of them. Then let's go 10 frames forward, shift and then arrow forward to go 10 frames forward. Then let's just move it till all of it shows on this side. So I think somewhere here looks okay. Now let's make that smooth. Option K to bring the keyframe animation out. And I'm gonna be fast on this, just like we did previously. I'm just gonna click on that, click on this, change to auto curve, and I'm gonna do with the rest of them. And we're gonna make 3 of it, but for now, let's work on the vectors and then we'll go back to it. So I need to bring one vector on this side, and it's gonna be about whatever you're talking or whatever you're editing in your video. So with that, let me just go to import on the left side, then click on stock materials, click on drop down menu, and then you can find it on background. But I already have it on favorite, so I can just go to favorite, drag and drop on this side. And we cannot stretch this because it's a video and it ends there. So one way to do this is to reduce the speed, but I would like to go with the freeze method. So right click that, edit, freeze. Let's delete this once, we don't need that. Bring this here, stretch it to make it long. Then with that one selected, I can go to mask, bring it this way, increase the top so I can get a little bit of rectangle shape. Then on the mask side, round corners, let's go to somewhere 20 to 30. It's gonna give us that round edges. Then go to left side, click on import. Let's go to our device. We're gonna bring in our first one we're talking about. So I'm gonna bring in the leaves, drag and drop on top of it. Let me stretch it and make it the same length as this one. And I'm gonna provide you guys with all these materials you can practice along. Let me just reduce the size of it and place it in the middle of this. And I'm gonna make a compound clip of it, but first, let's duplicate this white background. We're gonna use it along the way. So Option, and then I'll drop it on this side for now. Now select this, Option G to create a compound clip of it. Let's drag it to when the line comes in fully. So this is our line, this is the animation. Let's drag it to this side. To not get ourselves confused, let's drop it on top of that very line. And because we've turned on the layers, it's gonna make everything easy on our side. With this, we're gonna probably make a compound clip of it along the way. So let's just right click that and select a freeze frame of it. So this is a freeze frame, delete this side, we don't need it. And let's just stretch it. Now with that selected, go to animation and let's bring some animation to it. I think I'm gonna use either zoom in or flip for this tutorial. I think flip looks really cool, so I'm gonna use that and I'm gonna leave it at 5 seconds. So when you play, when it comes in, then it flips on that very side. Now let's bring one of the line on this very side and I'm gonna make a duplicate of this and use that trick. So when it comes in this way, the next line is gonna come on this side. I'm just gonna drag it to this very side. And I think with this line, I can still make it curvy more. So with that, let me just click on this compound clip and let's break it down. Option Shift and G to undo that compound clip. Let's bring it down here, rotate it this way. Then let's go down here and then let's curve it more. Then I can place it here. Now let's make a compound clip of it. Option G to make a compound clip. Go to mask, click on that and select horizontal. Now make a keyframe on mask and go 10 frames forward and make another keyframe on that side. Now let's go to the previous keyframe we created and let's just drag it this way, move it, drag it this way, move it till we clear that lines off. With the feather, let's take it to somewhere 3. And I think when we go forward, let's take it to 3 too, so we'll maintain the same feather. Now on that very side, I think we can cut the line off a bit on that side. So I can go for something like this and make sure you're on the second keyframe. Now we're going to work on the curve animation to make it smooth, and I'll be fast on that side. Now we need to bring one vector on this side. Remember, we have the background white here. Let's make a duplicate of that. Option, drag it to this side, and let's bring in our second vector. It's going to be this. I'm just going to drag and drop on top of it. Let me stretch it and make it the same length as that. Then with that selected, let me make it small and drop it on this white background. Then I can just select all of them. Option G, create a compound clip. Let me select an image of it. So right click, edit, freeze. Let me delete this and delete this. Now I can bring that on top of this very one. This is the second line, but I can just take it on that side. So this line comes in. When you look at it, this is the second keyframe. Then this image is also going to come in. Let me stretch it now. With that one selected, let's place it nicely at the end of this very line. And we're going to animate that to come in too. So with that one selected, go to your right side, click on animation, on in. Let's click on flip. So it's going to have the same look to it. Now we're going to do one last one on this side, and I'll be fast on that. So now I'm done. This is how it looks so far. It comes in nice and clean on that side. Now we need to get these vectors to be moving just like this image, and we're going to use the same trick. Go to effect on the left side, select play pendulum, drag and drop on it. And we are not going to make compound clip of it. It could have been easy, but with CapCut we're going to use another compound clip later on along the way, so we just do it individually like that for now. Twist, let's take it to 0. Strength, I don't want it to move that much, so I'm going to go for 4. Then with the speed I can go for somewhere 20. Then I'm going to do on this very vector too. So now when I play, you can see it's going to have this floating vibe to it. So now we're done with that. We need to work on them when they are coming back to the normal position. We're going to work on that soon. So let's take our playhead to here. Let's scroll up and see exactly when it starts to move to that side. So it was on this very keyframe that they start to move to this side. So let's take our playhead to this side before that keyframe. Let's scroll down, and this is the rest of the images that we have. These ones are already in compound clip, so we need to make a cut on that side. So we're going to select those 3. That's the animated lines on this very side. Without selected, Command B, it's going to make a cut on all of them. Then we're going to start with the top one, right click, and let's freeze it so we can just have the image of it. In this way we can create a compound clip of it later on. I'm going to do the same with this. So now I can make a compound clip of all the 3 lines and also the vectors and also the lady on this very side. So this is what I'm going to do. Select the lady, select the 3 vectors, and then select these 3 lines on this side. Remember, this is the one that we cut. Don't select the first one, select these ones. Then option G, it's going to create a compound clip of all of them. So now let's move it on top of these ones. Now we're going to use the animation of this very lady. You can see this is where they start going back. Let's take our playhead to this very one and make sure we match the same keyframe. So take the playhead to that very keyframe, then select these ones over here, drop a keyframe on transform. Then let's click to see where it was. I think it ends somewhere here. Click on this one, and then we can just reduce the size of it, and automatically it's going to drop a keyframe on those ones. But let's just lock it on all of them so it doesn't confuse us, and then we can move it to this side of the screen. So I think I can go for more like this. Then click on this to see where the next keyframe is. It's on this side. Then click on this very one, and then I can just move it a bit to this side. Now let's make it smooth. Click on that, option K to bring the keyframe animation out, and I'm going to repeat the same steps, make all of them auto curve, and I'll be fast on this side. Now we're gonna bring in the name and the tag of this very lady. Let's go to the beginning of it. Go to import, click on that, click on stock material. Let's click on the drop down menu, then click on background, scroll down. I'm gonna use this green, drag and drop in the timeline. Let me make it a bit longer like this. Then I can rotate it to 90 on minus 90 degrees. Then click on mask, click on rectangle. Let's shape it nicely like this. Round corners, let me go for 30. Now make a compound clip of it. With the compound clip selected, let's go to mask, click on horizontal. We're going to animate it to come in nicely. So rotate it to minus 90 and let's wipe it off. Then make sure your playhead is on the starting of that very compound clip. Make a keyframe on position and rotate. Then on feather, let's go to somewhere 3 or 4. Then I'm gonna go when she comes in fully on the screen to something like this. Still on that compound clip. Let's make a keyframe again on position and rotate. And then I'm just gonna drag it till all of them show on the screen. So when you look at it, it's gonna come in. Now let's make that smooth just like we did earlier on, Option K, and I'll be fast on this side. Now we need to bring in our text. Go to the left side, click on text, drag default text in the timeline. Let's make it the same length as the compound clip for now. Then go to basic, make sure you select the text and let's write what we want to write. And with the font, I'm gonna go for Gotham Light. Then I can just reduce the size of it. Then with the text selected, let's go to animation and we're gonna choose bounce left with this. I can increase the duration to somewhere 1 second. Then I'm gonna make the text come in when this background starts coming in fully. So I can take the text to somewhere like this and play and see how it looks like. Now we're gonna bring in one more. That's her name, gonna be her name on top of all of them. Go to default text, drag and drop in the timeline, make it the same length. Let's change the name to whatever name you wanna write. And with that one, I'm gonna go for Monstera. I want it very bold on top of all of them. Let me go somewhere here. And I want that to come in somewhere here. Just like we did, let's go to animation and select bounce left. Let's increase it to somewhere 0.6 seconds. And now we need to match it with the same movement of this lady and we're gonna play this trick with it. And the easiest way to do it is to make a compound clip of all of them so we'll match with this very image. And this is already a compound clip, so it's gonna be hard, and we have the animation here so we cannot convert it into an image. So this is what we'll do. Let's select all. Now we know exactly how it's gonna look like, and let's just drag it to this side. And I'm gonna drag it in the main timeline, but I don't want it to snap under this once. So I'll make sure I turn off this magnet so I can easily drag it in the timeline. And due to that, it's not gonna snap on this side. Now, let me click on the compound clip, go to canvas, click on this drop down menu, select color. Let's bring all of them out and select this blue color. Now I'm going to export this as a video file and then I will import it back into CapCut. Let's select this ones, Shift X to select that side, go to export, let's name it, click on the folder you want to export to, leave it at 1080 or if you want to go for 4K, and then click on export. Cancel this and cancel this too. Now let's go to the folder where we have it. Before we bring it in, let's go to import. We want to bring it in the media side. So go to the folder and drag and drop in the media side. Now let's go back to CapCut and delete this. We don't need that for now. Now I'm gonna bring that in and I want to match the same vibe with the lady, and I'm gonna play this trick as we did earlier on. Click on the lady's image, option and drag upwards to make a duplicate of that. Then let's just drag this and drop on this. It's gonna say it's too short. Yeah, let's reduce the length of it because the text is gonna disappear when it moves to this side. So let's just reduce the length of it. Now we can just drag and drop on it and click on replace clip. Now click on this, go to the right side, select remove background, select chroma key, color picker. Let's select this color and increase the intensity to take the blue off. Let's take our playhead to the first keyframe, then go to basic. On scale, let's take it to somewhere 90%. So when it comes in, it's gonna come in. We're gonna follow the same keyframe animation so it will match the rest of them. So it was 90, we don't wanna increase it that much. So let's go to somewhere 95% on that. And let's just drag it and let's see how it looks like. I think we can go for low because we can see the rest of the name. So we're just gonna be playing around this trick. Let's go to the first keyframe. Let's take it to somewhere 80. Go to this one. Let's take it to 85 and see how it looks like. It's still not showing. So I think let's go for 70 and see. Okay, now 70 looks pretty cool. Let's take the keyframe to the first keyframe. I'm using these arrows on this side. Then on that side, let's take it to somewhere 65. So it comes in and it zooms in on that side. Then this was 70. We make sure we have the 70. I think we can increase it a bit more. Then let's go to this next keyframe on this side. Make sure you select that. And then we can just reduce the size of it. You know what? Let's go back. So now let's put all these figures in our head so that the movement will not be that much on this. So it was 73. When I go to the next one, I can change it to somewhere 75. Then let's go to the previous keyframe. I'm using this arrow once again, and it was 445 and 572. So let's go back and let's put 445 and minus 572 on the y-axis and see how it looks like. Play and see. Now it looks pretty cool. So now we need to play with this. I think this one did not copy over because it was so short, but we're gonna work on that. Let's take the playhead to the second keyframe on the lady's image, then click on the name tag. And with that, we can just increase the size of it and then we can move it to this side. Now let's play and see how it looks like. And now let's play with the curves on that so it will match the same speed with the images. So click on that, Option K to bring it out. Let's start with the scale. Click on this, change to auto curve. Let's go to Y. Click on that, change to auto curve. Click on that, change to auto curve. Now Option K to hide it and play and see how it looks like. I think we can work on that a bit more. Go to that keyframe. Let's increase it a bit and move it on that side. And now play and see how it looks like. Now it looks good. So now with the name tag, we want it to be behind the lady. So we're just gonna drag it below this so it will be behind the lady. And now let's play the trick to get the blur in. When it's moving, we want to be blurring some parts, so we will focus on some parts. Let's start with the lady. Make a duplicate of her, press Option and drag upwards. Now with that one, go to Effect, click on that, scroll down. We're gonna select blur. I have it under my favorite, but you can find it on lens. Drag and drop on the top one. So we want to introduce the blur when it starts moving to this side. Let's take our playhead to that keyframe and make sure you select that one. Scroll down on blend. Let's click it so we can bring opacity out. Let's click on and make a keyframe on that opacity. Then let's take it to this second keyframe. Make opacity, keyframe on opacity. Let's take it to somewhere 50%. We don't want it to be that much. Then use this arrow to go to the previous one and take it to 0. So when you look at it, when it's moving there, it's gonna add this blurry to it, so it will focus on this very side. So now when we are coming back, we need to bring the blur out. So let's take it there, make a keyframe on opacity, take it to this keyframe, and then we can take it to 0. And then when it's moving to this side, let's take it to that keyframe and we can bring it back to somewhere 50%. Now we're going to do the same thing to the ones at the back here, the nurse or the doctor, and these very vectors. So this is the one. Click on that, make a duplicate of that, press Option and drag downwards or upwards, but we're going to drop it on the top one. Go to your left side, drag, blur, and drop on it. And with that one, we're going to start from here. I don't know if you can see carefully, this is where it starts moving with the keyframe. So we take our playhead to that very keyframe, and then on blend, we make a keyframe on opacity. Let's take it to 0. And then let's go to when it moves to this side. This is the keyframe on opacity. Let's bring it up a bit. So when you look at here, it's gonna blur it a little bit. So now when you play, when it goes back, it's gonna blur on that side. Now I'm gonna play all together and show you guys what we have so far. This was longer than I expected. Now if you want to know how to edit like pro YouTuber, you can check on this playlist. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.